Do it. If you want to look up. Yep. Well, yeah. I guess let's don't be a dick. Yeah. I don't mind. Like, it's the last day of Worlds Adrift, so go ahead. Just, yeah, let's don't be dicks. My friend is really great at driving. Fucking god. Got a lot of resources to yeah, some people would never do
Control, but like without announcing the shutdown, because I know obviously the population in the competition was nowhere near what it would have been. Yeah, that would have been quite exciting to see and watch those rivalries come up, because you know that was always, again, like the earliest kind of community-driven stuff we wanted to do was always those memorable alliances, those memorable names, and I think the territory control system really cemented that. It's obviously a shame we couldn't get the full territory control system in, which would have had you building your sky bases, sky ports they were going to be called. And they were going to be like, if you owned islands in a zone, you could build a sky port, which would be like a floating hub city, and they would actually be safe zones. So they would be where you could arrive and trade and talk and chat and hang out with people without the threat of like kill and shutdown and stuff like that. Yeah, and depending on how many islands you have in the zone, it would add shield. We got water in the island. That was mostly because of all of the physics-based stuff, like what happens when a ship or what happens when you fly a ship into a lake. Like, will the engine still work? Like, does like the stove still? There's all this stuff that just like cascades, and you're like,
Fishing.
I did have a design like fishing, sky fishing. One of the things in Skies of Arcadia, we had two little schools of fish. I mean, Skies of Arcadia, you fly through them, but I really wanted it, so you would do. You'd have to use your sails. If you used engines, it would scare them away. So you'd have to have your sails go up, and then coast near a school of fish. And they would be kind of like almost like the buffs we have now. You'd get fish and give yourselves like extra potions and stuff. It's Sylvain.
It's our next mystery guest.
See, he's the one you should have been asking about all the weird like tech requirements and why we developed it the way we did.
If you got
the easy question.
Yeah, this is the juicy stuff now.
I was everything else. Well, no, not code questions, but you know, anything about the world. I think we're probably going to add coffee after we jump in there.
Yeah, I think we're all going to.
There's an everyone.
There's an everyone section.
Apparently I pushed the button as well.
Yeah, well, it's only 50 minutes.
So, yeah, basically, it's like, I was going to say it's like putting down animals, but that's not 40, so...
I called my son.
That's kind of thing like
Parting words that aren't...
I'm going to go check out this skyway. Oh, you found it? How are we going to share? I don't think we should show on there. We should just link it like on image. Yeah. But that that's what I used to build the story out. So.
Vince has said something that's been deleted.
Ooh.
I wonder what he said.
Probably just memeing.
You banned Vince?
It's just memes. Anyway, I'm gonna head now. I'll see you guys later. Have a
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you. See you later. Sylvain.
Who's this?
Hello.
Hello.
Right.
Back.
How are you?
Okay, so to clear things up, how do you pronounce your name correctly?
Sylvain Cornillon.
Sylvain.
I've been calling him Sylvain for 6 years.
It's alright. Everybody does it. I've been called 7.
Okay, so Sylvain is CTO Bossa. He's a bigwig, fat cat,
No,
head of the food chain, apex predator.
No.
Responsible.
Responsible, makes all the decisions.
Makes all of them. No swearies apparently. No swearies. Pat's saying no swearies from you.
I shouldn't swear.
No.
Thanks.
Okay, so if you have any technical or difficult questions, now's the time. This is the moment with all the answers.
In the meantime, I can show that we have the map.
Yeah, you can show them out.
Show the
Let's
foundation.
start off right.
This
Yeah.
is the map that Luke was talking about, like the original
Yeah.
foundations of it.
It is very cool. You're going to have to get right in there. Oh, this might not work.
Your screen's too bright. Darken the screen a little. Oh,
There you go. A tease.
We'll show you the full thing after.
We'll share the post. It's a nice.
Okay, let's start. Will you guys ever revisit Worlds Adrift or make a similar game?
If it's possible for that, yeah, we definitely like the idea. Just like being made that's very usable. But we need an idea. We need to
Were there any technical issues, either like you overcame or the team in general, that seemed impossible at the time?
well, the first one I remember is telling Tom when he solved the rope on the rapping about around stuff.
Oh, yeah,
I told him you made an old man happy because I wanted that working for years. So that was the first one. I was like, we can do something. More recently, it was a refactor of all the login and getting the shit in the time that we took to do it. The team we had. Very small team left on the project, and they tackled it, and it worked first time around. It allowed us to do all the blueprints, the ship blueprint, and so
Yeah.
that was. I thought we'd never get there.
Would you ever sell that IP to someone else?
I don't decide that. The IP itself, we could, but honestly, we like owning our IPs and we like doing stuff with it. So we could, but it's not.
What else have we got? Why not remaster Worlds Adrift without the focus on physics? Games with simpler physics are often wildly successful, and Worlds Adrift is so much more than just a gameplay mechanics. Focus more on lore and meaning.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the physics, to be honest, is we have some experiments running with physics where it's better. The physics is a bad combination of the physics changes, you send the physics back to the circuit. But to be honest, the physics isn't really the big part. It's how we fly the ship and the physics of the ship, which is quite a core element. So we've considered options. The physics of the game, so the ship is but remastering debate and how split is the community between the two things.
Would you ever give someone the game code? Now, obviously, this is a question that's come up a lot since we announced the kind of shutdown. Like, why not release the source code? Why not make Worlds Adrift open source? Why not allow private servers? And we've touched on it a bit, but if you could, just expand on that.
From a super high level, I'll go more in detail, but from a really high level, since September last year, I was fully on the project, fully trying to find solutions to all of this. And so releasing the code, we explored everything, like open sourcing the whole thing, selling it to someone, reworking it, working on a different technology, everything, different platform, different deals. I spent 6 months doing almost only this. And nothing worked out. The game had at least three critical issues that couldn't be solved. And even if you solve one of them, the two others would make the game unviable. Some are commercial, some are technical, some are just legal. So in terms of selling the game, which was the original question, I guess, and or sharing the source with some people, there's a lot of stuff in the source code that we don't own. And so that would mean cleaning that up, and it's not a little bit, it's a lot, it's a big effort. A big chunk is Special OS, and it's part of our code base, and so we can't really share that. And and then there's all the plugins on it. So plugins can be sold, but it's a big one. Also, there's part of the code we have been doing this kind of stuff. That's not really special. It's a bit complicated. And mostly it's a big effort to get it to a state where we can share it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are mentioning the grappling hook and thinking like hoping to see it in maybe something else in future. Maybe not in the exact same form, but that kind of.
Yeah, so that's definitely something like the grappling hook is 0% spatial. So it was written that way, it was done that way. So again, we just need the right idea to deal with it, because we can't just say, well, it's grappling hook racing.
Yeah. Although that will be quite fun. Couple of quick ones, just not Sylvan related. The Discord will be handed back to the mods probably next week, so at that point it's up to them what they do with it. I think that's fitting because they created that community and they kindly let us take it on to make the server verified, but yeah, they should totally decide what to do with it going forward. And any chance we'll see more of the remaining OST? Yeah, we've already mentioned that, but we're going to try and put some additional stuff on it.
Yeah, the current base soundtrack is on YouTube at the moment, but obviously some stuff is
Oh, a French question from Half-Blood. Can you see that? Is that not one you
I
can
can't
read
blink.
out?
I'm not blinking. I'm not blinking.
Ooh. Covert French questions going on.
Sorry, I didn't read the whole thing before I played.
We've mentioned selling the IP. We like keeping it, right? The words
Selling the IP. Yeah, we especially that we understand the community and everything, but we really will. Yeah, the IP. We're looking at the assets. It's obviously the IP.
You can ask Enrico about it.
Yeah, Enrico will be running and I'll be more powerful.
Rozika, I think it's pronounced, saying, I think this is more a personal question, not specifically CTO Sylvan. What are your favourite things to code? AI physics?
I'm an AI guy.
You're an AI guy. You're the AI master, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually, well, I'm master now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm AI character animation control. That's why I'm really impressed with the work Tom did with the character control. And one of the right decisions we made for the game, that's actually a technical one, like in the learning experience, but we decided to send the animation of the characters as animation bones. We send like basically all the position of the character with compress that and send it through. So that's why everything is synchronized with the environment. That's why you can see all the ragdoll.
Okay.
Usually people send stuff through to replicate the animation. You see that in all the games, and you see the character slide around, you see the character jump animation and flip and stuff like that. In Worlds Adrift, the reason you can see everything that you do or anything with your arm or your whole animation is because the client calculates all the animation and does that beautifully. And in the end, it's okay, some of the data transfer all the time, and we can compress it, and we compress it right from the beginning. And that makes the character look really good. If you look at other games that are multiplayer and have character animation, you tend to see stuff sliding, not looking right, and not being very expressive.
Awesome. Someone's asking, I study game development. What are some lessons that you learned from the development of Worlds Adrift? Can you share any in particular?
Gosh, first we learned a huge amount. Like the future project we're working on, only possible because of stuff we done and the team we built from Worlds Adrift and the experience we built. And the proof is that how much faster we were going for the end. Some of the people forget what to say. So there's a lot of learning. The simplest one, I would say, stay away from networking if you can. We basically have an assumption which is if a game, you take a game idea and if it's networked, you double everything. You double the costs and you develop people tools. You don't have the right tools to do it. No, if you have the right tools to do it, it's very complicated to think about it. Now we know how to do it and we got that expertise, but it takes a while to learn it.
But maybe not an MMO.
Well, that was added on top, like the persistent aspect of the game. To be honest, it's amazing way it works. Like the number of stuff that we have in there that's unique and different and outside of the stuff you used to do.
Someone's having a hard time hearing us talking.
Oh,
Are we quiet, or is it just
Maybe
listening
it's
to
Sylvain if we call that one.
sorry, I'm mumbling. French mumble.
The French mumble. What are the grappling hook worth in real life money? Is he referring
How much are you offering?
this?
Yeah, this one.
I think it's referring to that.
You say a number first, and then
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
As a clue, the grappling hook is networked, so whatever you're thinking, double it.
Yeah. That's what we learned today.
Yeah. Any questions?
$1 billion.
We'll take
Fine,
it.
we'll
Sure.
take it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No negotiation needed.
Deal.
We only
Deal.
take cash.
Oh, Vince, you remember Vince, right? How long will the island creator remain on the store after the Worlds Adrift closed?
How long will the
Island creator app be available on Steam?
It's not planned to be removed.
There you go.
It's planned to have one or two more updates actually, which I don't know if it's all on Tom. To be
Confirmed.
honest, it's all on Tom, so you need to find the time to do it. He's busy with a lot of stuff, but there is one thing we want to do with it that makes it more useful outside of Worlds Adrift.
Interesting.
That is
So I'm not promising anything.
That's a world exclusive from Sylvan. World
Yeah,
exclusive.
the Island creators.
How much for the gold face?
Oh,
Oh, the BAFTA.
it's
Sir,
it's
you've got a gold
priceless.
face.
It's priceless.
Yeah, we can't sell that one.
No.
We actually, I don't think we're allowed to.
No, even if you're offered as a billion.
It's illegal
Yeah.
to sell a
Yeah.
BAFTA.
Yeah. It's like an Oscar.
Technically, if you bought the grapple hook for $1 billion, we could probably give you the BAFTA for free.
Yeah, we'll throw it in. You can have
You
it.
can get, yeah, you can get everything.
You could probably make your own BAFTA winning team and get all the
Yeah.
BAFTAs you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
You could probably buy BAFTA. Someone's asking, can we get the shipbuilding inside the island creator?
So the shipbuilding, when I was saying that the grappling hook is very, very separated from spatial, the shipbuilding is fully integrated with spatial. It almost does not exist outside of spatial.
Right.
Every time you edit something, it's done on the server, and then you see that appearing. So that's really hard. The idea itself, maybe, and you'll see, the idea might be reused, but the code is almost unusable.
So something more like the glider would be more realistic, right?
The glider is just
Yeah.
mostly animations. and
Or
stuff
any
like that.
movement based
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, we could look at movement based. The
Yeah.
stuff we want to do as a Island Creator is more about making that more useful to
Okay.
outside of Worlds Adrift. But you never know this time. You might want to grow. So.
Do you write any graphical shaders?
Me?
I
No,
don't know if
I'm
me
rubbish at it.
personally.
If there is one thing I don't know how to do and I'm rubbish at, is writing shaders. And I know the algorithm and what's running in it, but the code itself, the coding itself of shaders, that's the one thing I don't do. We don't have a lot of expertise in house. We work with someone very, very good to do all the shaders for the cloud and everything.
Yeah.
So, no. Everything else pretty much I've done in video games, but not graphical shaders.
Sylvan does not throw shade.
No.
Confirmed.
That's a good way of putting it.
I think this is quite an interesting one for you to answer from like a personal perspective.
Yeah.
So, if you were to make Worlds Adrift again, would you do a PvE focused co-op adventure, or would you double down on PvP? Like you personally?
personally, if I look at the game I like to play, I do PvE. But I always liked the, and that's probably the mistake, not the mistake, but that's probably what got us where we are. Luke and I talked a lot about design at the beginning, and we all like the idea of that experience of, it's mostly is with a group of friends, but then you meet someone. The reference we used was the Waterworld meeting in the ships where they are meet each other and they don't know they can stop each other, and building that, and you can only build that if there's a risk and a danger. Maybe that was crazy to think that it was a vibe. I mean, I think Worlds Adrift hit that very well, and when it happened really well, but in majority it's not the experience player experiencing it, so that's a bit of a pity.
Yes.
So PvE for me, as a game, PvP is probably the most successful option. So if I was to use a game now to make it a successful game, I'd do PvP.
PvP. There we have it.
Someone says, can you make a better version of Sea of Thieves, but in the sky?
Well, we tried.
You played it.
Some of it is better. I can say that some of it is better than Sea of Thieves. Yeah. Apparently it's hard.
People are liking your answers, Sylvan.
Oh.
Someone said the clouds are the best they've ever seen in any game.
Yes, I agree.
I do.
Yeah.
I agree.
Sure.
They are the critical decision was they will be part of the gameplay, and they will be important. So we can't just make them like they need to work on all devices. Now that's the problem is how, because it's so nice and so expensive, and so on some devices doesn't work well. But there was a lot of focus put on them because they were a critical part of the gameplay. But then they ended up being a critical part of the look of the game. Like it just makes it look amazing.
Are we gonna post the VOD of this?
It'll be on Twitch. We might put it on YouTube as well, maybe. But we'll quite like Half-Blood's video being the last video, because it is, we're good. So I don't know. Maybe we'll find a way of putting it somewhere.
It doesn't disappear from Twitch after a while.
Would do, yeah. So maybe we'll archive it on YouTube and just, we'll show you.
There you go.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Welcome to Uncles, where everybody's my uncle. What can I get you?
How much better could Worlds Adrift look using the high definition render pipeline in Unity 2019? It's quite a question.
It's an expensive pipeline in general, so it could look a lot better, but in general it's an expensive pipeline, and so you need a version for low-end graphics cards and stuff like that. So Worlds Adrift is still doing some, like Tom's done really some really good stuff on the lighting of the engine and the global illumination.
Thank you for the frosty drink.
So yeah, it looks already pretty good. I think we could get what we're doing cheaper for in some cases, like the cloud could be cheaper on the high definition. But I'm not an expert, as I said, on the graphics. That's probably my weakest.
What else have we got?
This uncles.
No question. We're just
Can
reading
Worlds
stuff.
look any better? The graphics are amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
Thank you.
Uncles.
You're
Welcome
welcome.
to Uncles, where everybody's
The
my
three
uncle.
people responsible are in front of you. You are welcome.
We did the art.
The islands are falling. What?
They are. Have you not heard?
Yes, I have.
Yes, they are. Confirmed.
Confirmed. Yes.
Head
That's one of the
toward-
things we were afraid to do for the
I'm about to
party
throw down a
There was
bunch
an
of
idea,
on the
right?
house
That the
food.
islands
wasn't
would
an idea.
dynamically
It was-
lower in
it
raise,
was-
so we wouldn't.
No way. In order to get new islands in the game, we wanted to slowly get them down, disappear, and then new ones pop out. That was the whole plan, but
Yeah.
it's the kind of stuff where like never even got to the time to
Okay.
experience with it until the last,
Yeah.
when nobody else is doing anything, you can't break it for everybody. Then they point it. Yeah. Exactly that.
We're not planning to sell the strip merch, but you send an email to our email,
Address, which is what? What is it? There we go.
not community at Boss Studios.
Yeah,
it's
what is it?
EOW shirt.
Oh, he's remembered.
Shirt.
You just read it. Cheating.
EOW shirt at bossstudios.com.
Can I get one? Because I'm just.
Don't you have one? You must have one. You've got all the stuff.
We've got a hat here if you'd like a hat.
Hat. What else we got? No, they can't
Hello,
have that.
everybody.
No, you
Welcome
can't have
to
that.
Uncles, everybody's
putting
my
it the right
uncle.
way around.
Okay.
What can I get you?
Sylvan's doing some tidying. Yep. Hat. Snap back.
Andrew, you gotta
Look how
talk
cool
louder,
you could
buddy.
look.
I look better because I have
Hey Sharp, do you by any chance have some hard candy?
Yes, a loot
That's
bag.
something you guys
Blue
serve?
bag, plastic, not canvas.
yes.
Some are
I got
signed,
hard liquor.
Some are signed.
and first come,
Oh,
first
that
serve,
sounds
so
nice.
gotta be in it to win it.
Hey, you guys.
That's
Uh,
something even more
Might have been
harder.
asked already, but if players are willing to purchase some of the licensed or proprietary software that runs the servers, would P2P be possible, as in peer-to-peer?
No. Like
No.
almost 50% of the code base is special, and so you wouldn't be able to get any servers. Like you wouldn't be able to get any multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, and the version that we run on, right, is like an old version.
Yeah,
so
you
there
would
wouldn't
like
be.
it will be
yeah.
like we're the only one allowed to
Yeah.
use it, and it's all the stop working as servers at
Yeah.
Someone says, so why didn't you move to a newer specialized version?
It was because we were.
Would
very
anyone
early on,
else
we were
like a
on an early version of
drink?
technology, and that was a big difference.
Remember, everybody here is my uncle.
And we tried to look at transitioning, but it was massive amount of engineering time. Like we need numbers.
Yeah, is there any
Too much to
food?
be able to do it. We tried. We
Yeah.
planned and planned for it, but planned for how to do
Oh,
it, and then
I'm truly sorry.
it was even when we started
Well, of
doing
course
it,
he
which
cooks
was
it in the oven.
we did it for
Have you
all
ever
the
cooked in
social,
Worlds
the
Adrift?
chat, when we refactored the chat, the alliance, and all that stuff. We used the new technology, and that took us.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, the alliance.
That was supposed to be the simplest system. That took us well longer than we thought, and so we kind of gave up, or we reevaluated it.
The mods might be able to teleport you to Ishtar. You want to try asking Strike, Freniku, and possibly Dave, but no guarantees.
We're gonna have a break. So should we do like one last question?
One last question.
Have you got a good one?
Would anyone like to try my new
We'll do a joke
drink? A
question
dog
in
wing
series.
shot,
Pineapple on
socks,
pizza.
and 2 shots of milk.
Perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
What do you
That
take
sounds
in your
pretty
tea? Quick fire.
Nothing. Coffee. Black. One
Coffee,
sugar.
I like that.
Tea. My
Yeah.
tea is green tea Chinese because I lived there, so and so nothing.
Pancake or waffle?
Neither. And gluten-free these days.
Gluten free.
What about Worlds Adrift in space?
There are games that
Oh,
are
yeah,
much
more
more in
yeah.
space. I
Yes.
suggest you check some of them out.
Yes, we're not gonna.
Yeah, we're not
Mention
promoting.
it, but-
Yeah. Ooh, no.
I'm really sorry.
Do you want to answer that one? Are you brave
If,
enough?
if the game matched the technology.
Okay, that's in response to would you ever use spatial OS again?
Yeah, we ever use special OS again, so if the game matches the technology.
To
If the game
control.
matched the technology, there's the answer.
Because we start from the creative side and the idea, and then we figure out the technology. So
Wait, is there a t-shirt? How do we get a t-shirt?
no, I'm not answering that one.
Watch out!
Boxes or briefs?
I don't know the difference because I'm French and I.
Yeah, I'm
So
just
boxes
gonna
are
salvage
shorts
this
and briefs
box
are therefore white.
to the point where people can open it.
Briefs.
I wouldn't. No, don't.
Now we know.
What about you?
Boxes.
Commando.
Well, there was a proper question about entity component system.
What did you want to answer? Okay, hang on.
No, I've got it. I know. I
you
know.
don't.
What,
Okay,
what's
okay.
what's the entity? What do I think of the entity component system from Unity? It's great. It's the future of game development. This kind of stuff. All the data-oriented programming is definitely something everybody should know about and look at. As well as the issue we have with game development, object-oriented programming. It's a bit counterintuitive for developers and young developers. So there's a big
Can you
difference,
open
but
it?
having it in Unity is great. It's not a new concept. I've used this kind of concept in game before, but for Unity, that was definitely a step in the right direction for performance.
On a similar note, someone's asking, why did you pick Unity over
Right now.
Unreal Engine?
So that's we use Unity at Bossa in general because it allows us to to start with the game idea and then decide the platform.
Oh,
Unreal has that option, but not as well, and not on as many platforms.
Oh, never mind. You can still open it.
So that was the main reason. Also, Spatial was working on it.
Oh no, Uncle's is going down!
Yeah, it's the only reason.
Yeah, so there is no particular reason I've worked with Unreal before. It's a great engine.
We gave the pilot a
Yes,
drink.
yes, the ship is drunk.
So this is quite an interesting one, especially like if we're looking at a post-mortem perspective. What are one or two things you would have done differently?
I would have fixed the bigger technical issues early. The stuff we fixed in the last few months, we should have fixed a little bit. I would say like there's plenty of things I would have done differently. But that's the one where I'm like, why didn't I push for that personally? I wasn't fully in the project. I wasn't leading the project technically at the time. Only later, and I was really disappointed I didn't spot that. I was disappointed in myself that I didn't spot that and push for it. It was always the next milestone, the next features, and we'll fix those at some point, or Spatial will fix this at some point, and not addressing the issue around the login sequence, around sort of saving the ship out of it. Because if there's one thing that's improved performance,
not normal.
The ships are not on the servers.
Yeah,
they only load when you load into the game, which makes so many things
Take
so
us up
faster.
to the
So much
Sky
faster
Whales.
maintenance,
Oh yeah.
restarting the servers, all that stuff is so much faster. Going from world representation to 40 meg or something. So we'll stay. So yeah, that's probably my biggest disappointment. Not
Yeah, they're up at the top.
forcing
No
these changes
screenshots
earlier.
from this port too.
Yeah, I think this is quite a good one to put to rest as well, because as far as I'm concerned, the answer is quite simple. Half-Blood's asking how much of a blow was the Unity Spatial OS incident in the grand scheme of things? Like, did it in any way contribute to deciding to close Worlds Adrift?
No, to
No.
be honest. It was a bit of a distraction when it happened, but
We stayed
no.
out of it quite well.
yeah, it wasn't a blow. It didn't hurt that. It has nothing to do with the final decision, but also, yeah, it's change. It's distraction, opportunity maybe. It could have been opportunities, but in the end, it didn't make a difference.
Right, should we have a quick break and then we'll return with Henrique, who's one of the founders here at Bossa. He'll be doing an AMA as well. So you can save the really tough questions.
Yeah, save your spice.
Henrique. I think it's about 10 to 6, so I guess we'll return
10-6. I might need a bit longer than that.
longer, 6:15. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Go get a drink, have a snack, go to the toilet.
I'm flying this up to the Sky Whales.
She's
Take a
still
seat
playing the
so you
game.
don't fall off.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we should jump in. We might just like have someone doing it in the background while Ollie's quizzing Enrique. You might get Dean on. Dean can come on and do it. But yeah, thank you, Sylvan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Have you got any parting words to the community?
wisdom?
Keep looking at what we're
Keep
doing.
looking at what
Keep
we're
being
doing.
amazing, because that's an amazing community.
Yeah,
Cool.
lovely.
Right, we'll see you in 22 minutes.
Ooh, specific.
Goodbye.
Oh, wow.
Hello,
Hey,
we're back. So this is Henrique. Want to introduce yourself? What you do?
I am one of the founders at Boss Studios, and I am the gamer-in-chief. Basically help everybody.
Cool. So we're doing an AMA. If you've got any questions, ask them now. The juiciest ones. You can.
Yeah, I guess we'll get the most difficult ones now, right?
Yeah. So we've got a few sort of starting questions while people get those together. What was your role on Worlds Adrift?
Well, I was a champion of the project very early on. I think that the first time we ever spoke publicly about the game, it was me on camera, right
Yeah, I
near
remember
Christmas,
that one.
showing off that we were working on I Am Bread, and then we started Worlds Adrift. I wasn't part of the team who came up with the concept during the game jam, but ever since he was born, I was there.
Cool. Yeah. Alright, I think people start getting some questions in now. So, orange juice or grapefruit juice?
I prefer I prefer grapefruit. Yeah, but I heard you cannot have it with some drugs, right? With some medicine, otherwise,
really?
yeah, it freaks you out.
Just specifically grapefruit?
Yeah. It's a very reactive fruit. It's always on edge, it seems.
I don't even know if I've had grapefruit juice. Alright. Would subscriptions have helped with funding?
Oh yeah, if subscriptions still worked, this is a post-subscription world, I guess, right? I think that the last successful subscriber for a game that launched that I can recall was World of Warcraft, almost 15 years ago now. No, less than that, probably 11, 12 years. Anyway, it was a business model for MMOs very early on, since Ultima Online and Meridian and so on. But over time, it proved that it was very hard to keep people paying subscriptions. It would have helped, but not in the case of Worlds Adrift. This is no longer the days for individual game subscriptions. Subscriptions these days are much more for a platform, like Netflix or Gamer Pass or PlayStation Plus or something like that. It offers you a myriad of content rather than just one game.
One specific game.
Yeah.
Do you have a best and a worst part of developing Worlds Adrift?
Oh, of course. The best part was always the scope and the dream of what we thought the game could be. And, of course, all the players being brought into that journey, because we got so much feedback and good comments and love from the players during the journey. And the worst part is the regret of not having been able to meet that vision for the game, for many reasons, right? From all the spectrum that prevented us from getting there. But it's always, game development is always an exercise of giving a lot into the project and expecting it to give you back when it happens in the way that we dreamt that it would. Worlds Adrift was there for some time when we saw it coming together in the early days, but then it became this behemoth that we just couldn't move in the right speed, and that was the light and dark side.
We always knew it was like a really, really ambitious game.
Yeah.
There's more questions. Would a free to model, just free to play model with vanity items have helped?
Yes, it's a good question. A free-to-play model would have probably changed the dynamics, the financial dynamics, quite severely. But the way that Worlds Adrift was built, with the technology that it used on its infancy, I don't think it would be feasible.
Like, just to hold that many players?
Yeah, to hold that many players. It's not even to hold that many players. The equations were not there right now. It was a developing technology, so we got it very early on. And it evolved over time, and we hoped that it would evolve over time, but it didn't get to the point where we would be able to make it free to play. It will probably get there down the line, or already is, right? But not the version that we worked on. Certainly couldn't do.
Someone says, do you think you'd regret the moment that you close Worlds Adrift if its genre gets more popular?
No, I don't regret the moment we have to decide to close Worlds Adrift. I feel the pain of that moment, and it was a very hard decision to make, but I don't regret, because I think it will be even more painful if we didn't have it, right? It's Imagine this. When you're fighting a battle, right, which is what we were trying to do with Worlds Adrift, if you see a horizon where the outcome can be positive, that's the hope that drives you to do it. Once that hope fades away, because you just do the maths and you see that you will
Hello, my
not achieve
friend.
it, then it becomes in the realm of madness to try to continue.
Yeah,
It seriously was. It's like
You
I
need a
use
ride,
this number.
buddy?
People think it's an anecdote or just a figure of
No.
speech, but it's not. At 80 to 85% of our time we're being spent on making the game work rather than to make the game better.
It's the end of the
Yeah.
world,
It was
man.
just
The
15
end.
to 20% of our development time that was allowing to create new
Fuck
features
your
and
shit.
catch up with what the players wanted the game to become.
Yeah.
And you project that over time and you see there's no way we're going to be able to make the game what it had to be in order to be successful. We just didn't have the speed to take it there, unfortunately.
And I guess on that, do you think there's things we've done in Worlds Adrift that you will start seeing in other games?
I hope so. I hope that the whole idea of you being free to craft things in the way you want, and how physics enable the unexpected, I think is one thing that we will see more and more in games, but particularly user-generated content like all the islands were, and the ships. Now you already see that in games like Dreams coming about, or Mario Maker 2 is now super popular, and other projects that we are working on. This is, for me, co-creating the game with the players is something that will happen more and more from now on.
That's cool. I think someone's just entered the room. Who have we got?
It's me.
Oh, it's good.
Hey!
I'm jumping in
Joining
again.
us.
I've got beer. I'm back.
Just needed a slightly longer break than the rest of us.
I lost track of time.
Cool. So, if another studio was interested in buying the rights to the game and finishing it, would you allow it?
It's difficult because Worlds Adrift had a very special, unique relationship with the technology provider and other partners and so on, and to transfer that over is complex. We had discussions with people who were interested, but we thought that it wouldn't make a difference for many different reasons. Sometimes it's technical skill, sometimes it's vision divergences and so on. I don't think it would work out. If I could find a way for it to work out, I would have pursued it.
Would taking the core features of the game and making something smaller in scale, similar to Rust, where you have a smaller map and servers hosted by the community, be something you would be interested in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There has been discussions already about this. We just haven't entertained those discussions seriously until we close this chapter, right? I think blending the two together would not be conducive to a good outcome. We will not. It's like a breakup. You have to wrap it up and then have a fresh new start. You have to have some time in between so you can think of clear mind and go ahead. I know there's a lot of people on the team who want to work on a new version of it. One version where we have control of all the aspects of the game, which means that we know what we are doing, we know what the pace we can develop, and we know where we're going to get with the product that we want for people to experience. And that is very much close to my heart. I think that the time will come where we will probably give that a go. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough or we will take it seriously, but we'll certainly try.
That's cool.
Is there any game you're working on right now that you haven't announced yet?
Yeah.
Don't announce.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
announce
announce. Again, if you remember the very first time we spoke publicly about Worlds Adrift, I opened up the video saying that we were still working on Iron Bread. Bossa has always worked on at least 3 games in parallel, and this continues to be the case. The teams are very different sizes. I don't think we ever had a team as large as Worlds Adrift, but we have other 2 projects in development right now. So yeah.
Battle Royale Worlds Adrift win.
That's confirmed.
If you do end up revisiting Worlds Adrift, would you consider outsourcing some parts of the game to help with the workload?
If you say like graphical assets and so on, or well, we did outsource a lot of stuff on Worlds Adrift, like the music. Well, the composer is Morgan. We work with him a lot. He's one of the family, but he has his own company. QA, we had outsourced internal and external QA. So there's a lot of stuff that we already outsourced, but probably assets we would outsource to make it bigger. Yes, Core technology is a very difficult thing to outsource. Usually it doesn't work out. It becomes slower than doing in-house.
Yeah, we outsourced the cloud as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the shaders were outsourced as well to this genius in shaders. He's Canadian, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, he did a wonderful job. I never saw clouds. They are procedural and they are dense and they have volume, the volumetric clouds, and they are the same clouds for every player. Because if it was different, it would be weird. Right? It's very easy to generate that kind of stuff on the client alone, but on the server and synchronize it, I don't think it has ever been done. So yeah, and it was a project on its own right.
Do you have any favorite boss of game apart from Worlds Adrift?
Well, I was always a huge fan of the Dungeons of Doom.
I love that.
I played it so much. I think it was from our games the one I played probably the most, other than Worlds Adrift, because of how much you have to play it, right? But yeah, I love the Dungeons. Would you consider letting the public host their own servers and custom maps? It was, yeah, of course, if we could, we would. Technology that we use on Worlds Adrift is peculiar, and it's not easy to host. It's not something that is, we have a server. A shard of Worlds Adrift is around 400 and something cores. It is a massive cluster. So I don't see a player being able to host something like that. Put together 400 machines, of course, right? So it's like 60 something machines to work a shard. So this is why we didn't consider, but maybe version 2.0 was actually be something that the players host if we embark on that adventure, right? I think that having had the lesson that if we pull the plug, everything goes down, we will probably not go in that model ever again.
So this is an interesting one. Why don't you add a subscription to Worlds Adrift to help cover the server costs?
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier before.
If you'd been on time.
Fine, no, we'll go past that one. It's already been answered. Check the
Here is
VOD.
an interesting one. I totally understand you and will continue supporting you. But what I'm scared of is that the shutdown of Worlds Adrift might change people's opinions of Bossa games in future. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a real concern. It's odd because you don't play EverQuest anymore, you don't play Dark Age of Camelot anymore, and those were games that you bought in a box and you paid a monthly subscription to it, and one day they went away. So this is not that we are doing something that is not common or hasn't been done before. That said, people have the opinion they have. They are entitled to be pissed off with us. But when you look at it, you say, okay, I can take the game down and carry on as a company doing other stuff, and hopefully we can do stuff that we can give back to these players that feel like we haven't lived up to their expectations. Or we could just go down with the ship and the game will be offline anyway. Right? It's not a matter of us saying, Worlds Adrift is not making enough money, we have to stop it. Worlds Adrift has cost us 3 times as much as we made out of money, right? Of sales. It's a lot of money. Most companies will not have survived that. So it is a decision: do we survive or do we don't survive? It really is.
Yeah, a question that other people have been asked is, what sort of things have you learned from Worlds Adrift?
I think we learned
So much.
It's quite a hard question.
Yeah. Well, I think that the biggest questions were all in the realms of technical implementation of certain things. Because, of course, we were surprised by how positive the community were in general, and pleased with that. But we have had that experience before with other games. But we did not have started on a project as complex and as large as Worlds Adrift as a studio before. Individually, many people at the studio had, but not as a group. We have not done something as big as that, and that has told us a lot, particularly in how to contain our ambitions, I guess.
What are the game jams like at Bossa Studios? It's quite different.
There's a couple of things. They are constant, so we do it every month. It's part of our creative process. And they are always different because that's one of the rules of the game jams, is that no game jams are ever the same, because otherwise it starts to feel like work and it loses the point, it misses the point. Otherwise, it's we give people a theme. Sometimes it's very restricted, sometimes it's very broad. It could be as broad as childhood dreams that scared you, or it could be games that you play as a hobby, from where Worlds Adrift came up from. or it could be very specific, like a game that you have to make for the Apple Watch, which we did before, right? And then people have one rule, is that if you cannot convince one person to work with you on your idea, work on somebody else's idea. Otherwise, it's pretty free.
This one's quite interesting. It's very generic. Like, what are your favorite games of all time?
Wow, I have a lot of games I like,
Right.
but I'm a sucker for the original XCOM series.
Okay,
And after that, I will probably say Ultima Online.
that is a classic.
Yeah, I am old.
It's interesting for me, like, because I used to work at Blizzard, like, World of Warcraft was such a massive part of my life
Right.
for so long, so I can't have an all-time favourite list without World of Warcraft.